They know where they can find the dead people that they need to get certain votes. They plan this, as Gary said before.
It's meticulous.
It's meticulous. These guys are experts at this. It's not just a few guys in a back room. You're talking about hundreds of statisticians and engineers, and they work it, for a year.
And mathematicians and hackers.
Right.
We had a map out of Colorado when we were talking to our engineers, the guys that designed it and stole the elections. And we looked at it and we said, look, it's Denver here and Colorado Springs, all the Democrats, they said, and they looked at us in pity,
Yeah.
like, here's something. They said, no, we just go to every one place where Trump wins 70-30 and he's winning 68, or we shave in every other place. We don't go near a Democratic place because when they want to do recounts, they're going to go to the Democratic places. They don't realize we shaved in every other committee. We know every other county. We know how to do this. And then in each of those things where they shave with a different technique in each one of those. So if you found something in one county, there's no continuity around the state that way.
So this is why the Republicans are so much at fault, because they have the power and the ability to show in their areas they can allow access to the machines, they can allow access to the source code, they can allow the...
But they thought we just won by 35%. Okay, we didn't win by 38. Yeah. We won by 35, so no one's going to call they should have, right?
Because everyone says, well, we expected the Republicans to win by a majority. Well, it was a little less than we thought it was going to be, but they still won, so, no harm, no foul. But the evidence of the fraud is right there, and they could show it. They
never looked at it.
Welcome to the JJ Carrell Show. That was Laura Logan on Going Rogue, and she was interviewing two CIA operatives. I'm going to have to look down at my notes because I want to get their names right. Gary Berntsen and author and CIA operative Ralph Pizzulo. Hope I pronounced his name right. If you have not seen this video, I implore you, the moment my episode ends, you go to X, you Google, or you search Laura Logan, and you watch this. I don't care how tired you are, you have to watch it. These two men took, as they said, look, this is not three dudes in a back room or some geek in a basement hitting a button and changing some votes. No. This is hundreds of engineers, hundreds of mathematicians and statisticians. This is where they did it in Venezuela. They did it in Venezuela. And when you go and you learn the origins, it came from Castro to Maduro, because Maduro was going to lose his election, had to create something. He created this machine balloting where he was able to manipulate and change the votes. And then they went into America and they started a business or company in America, and they dominated everything in America as far as voting. We have an illegitimate government. I don't care that Donald Trump's in there and he's got his cabinet that I'm all for, Kristi Noem's, Tom Homan's, Stephen Miller's, Tulsi Gabbard, on and on and on. Amen. But I'm telling you, our government's illegitimate. All the government's illegitimate. Hell, they're using the same software, the same companies in state and local elections. We have no idea. We have no idea who should be running our government. But I will tell you this. The people in our government are not running our government. This should scare every American. 2020 was just the biggest and the most obvious, the most in your face theft. How many other elections have been stolen using this software? And something else, both these men, this interview is 2 hours and I'm taking notes and I'm just like, I got just throw my hands up because it's so damning. And they wrote a book about it. Is when the CIA operative, Gary Berntsen, said, I went to the FBI. I spoke to a FBI agent and they told me, please, actually almost a quote, get out of this city. Get out. Because if they get this information, they'll burn it and then they'll investigate and then prosecute you. Get out. He moved his family to Switzerland for a year. The CIA wouldn't help. Governments wouldn't help. No politician would help. Why? Because they were all in on it. They had to get rid of Trump. They couldn't have Trump have a second term. Look at what they did to our country. Look at the suffering we're still inflicted on. We're still having to overcome. 4 years of treason does not get overturned or righted in 11 months. Do I have some issues with what Trump's doing? Hell yeah, I do. But at the same time, I'm like, damn it, it's not even been a year yet. Think of everything that man has to overcome with no help. Where's Speaker Johnson? Where's the pencil Thune? Why have they not gone and destroyed the filibuster and gone in and codified everything? Everything. Why? Because they're afraid of what the Democrats are going to do? I just text back and forth before I came on the show with someone that's a very strong conservative influencer and voice. And I just said, if the Democrats get all three branches of government again, or just excuse me, not even they own the judicial. If they get back to legislative and executive, then they're going to come and arrest us. They're going to come and arrest us. They're going to weaponize the IRS, and they're going to destroy us financially and physically. There's no doubt in my mind. And all of us that are going to be prosecuted, all of us that are going to be hunted down, we're going to scream out to our politicians. Who are we going to scream to? John Thune, who sat there and allowed the election to be certified? Speaker Johnson, who's going to get on his knees and pray? That's who you're going to run to? You're going to run to Jim Jordan? Name one thing Jim Jordan has done in his entire, besides bitching on Sean Hannity. Anything that he's done. What are you going to do? You're going to go resuscitate and maybe get those electric shocks and shock Mitch McConnell to life? That's who you're going to complain to? Our government is illegitimate. And our founding fathers would have already been stacking bodies. That's the difference between them and us. Many, many differences, but one is they had courage and we don't. We're a gutless society, effeminate beta males, the vast majority. The great thing is you don't need a lot of alpha males to dominate betas. Hell, you can do like 1,000 to 1, 10,000 to 1, 100,000 betas to 1 alpha. We still win. But when will the alpha males rise up? Our founding fathers gave us the blueprint. You have to have a militia. You cannot trust your government. They instinctively knew that it will, over time, it will corrupt itself to the point that there is no coming back. Look, you can try to convince me, and it's never going to happen till you're blue in the face. Well, we can vote our way out of it. No, you can't. No one believes that the elections are on the up and up. Hell, even the Democrats don't believe it. That should tell you everything you need. The people that are cheating are telling you, yeah, they're not really on the up and up. Why don't we listen to them just for once? Well, what are we going to do? We're going to legislate it out? Who's going to legislate it out? The people that are enriching themselves? Who's going to do it? Ted Cruz? Again, tell me one damn thing Ted Cruz has done besides bitch and moan and complain about Israel and how we're not all Christians as he misquotes scripture. See, you can't vote it out. You can't legislate it out. You can't go to the courts. The courts are absolutely compromised. The media is compromised. What's left for the citizens of America? And this is what needs, and this is what I know scares the powerful and the elites and the politicians more than anything. What is left for us? Nothing. Nothing except violence. That's just the truth. Now, you're going to have people like Glenn Beck, who I'm I'm a big fan of Glenn Beck, and you're going to hear Matt Walsh, you're going to hear all these other people, and they're all going to kind of say the same thing. Well, let's hold our horses. Let's communicate. We can have a dialogue. Dialogue with who? Exactly. And tell me what the negotiating goal is. So you want completely closed borders and all the illegal aliens out? Well, they're not going to go with that. So go ahead, tell me, Glenn Beck, etc. Where do I meet them in the middle? It's 50 million illegals. Am I supposed to allow 25 million illegals to stay in? Have border halfway open? So let's talk about abortion. So they want to kill the baby outside the vaginal canal, meaning the baby's just born, and I want to shunt its head. I don't want to do that. So I'm supposed to. So my halfway point is a little over 4.5 months. That's what you're telling me I have to agree to? Well, I can't agree to that. I don't want any taxation. I don't want. I don't mind having like a sales tax, whatever the thing is that you want to, because nothing's for free. I get that. However, we have a tariff system that worked before 1913 that paid for everything. Then we won't do it anymore. Why won't we do that? You print money out of thin air, but you tax us. Why are you taxing us if you can print the money? It doesn't make any sense. You're killing us on both ends. You're deflating our money by printing more of it, and then you take our money. Where do I meet you halfway? I want term limits. The majority of Americans want term limits. You're not. Who's going to vote? Who's going to legislate for term limits? Who's going to do that? I want freedom of speech. I go on my platform and I see I'm on X. I have 60, 70,000 quote followers. I can't get more than 500 views. 10 days ago, I got over 1 million on one tweet. 250,000 on another, a couple 100,000. Now I'm getting 400 to 500 a day. I have people calling me and texting me and emailing me, friends, family, and people that I've never met in my life before, just sending me an email. Hey, I want you to know that you are absolutely being shadow banned on YouTube. I can't find anything of your stuff. I haven't been able to get anything of your stuff for 3 years. I see it all, but I have to go hunt for it. Well, who am I supposed to go to get this eradicated? The Republicans that keep voting to leave social media alone, they can do whatever they want? Well, that's discriminatory. Well, it's not if you're a Republican, and it's not really if you're conservative, and then it's not even that bad, JG, because you're white. Don't you understand? You're just a white guy. You have to take it. You got to take as much abuse as we can until you die. That's just the way it's going to be. And as soon as you understand that, JG, I think the more peace you'll have. I'm not going to have any peace. I'm not going to take this lying down. There is no middle ground. You have people that hate our country and want to destroy her, and I don't. I wrote a Substack article. Even when I'm looking at these statistics, even I am like, damn it, I can't believe that it's like this. 1970s, 88.75% white, 11% black. So about basically the whole entire nation was black or white in 1970s. 50 years later, black population went up 1%. 1%. Why? Because we're slaughtering and killing all of their babies in the inner cities through abortion. That's why. 1%. Whites went from 88 or 89% basically. Now we're at 56%. Well, what happened to our country's demographics in 1970s? It wasn't 1970s because I did the math, I did the research. It wasn't till the 80s that everything exploded. Why? Because back in 1965, the late, great Lion of the Senate and murderer, Ted Kennedy, went on the floor and passed the Hart-Celler Act saying, don't worry, the demographics are not going to change. There's not going to be people protesting in our streets, upending our social and societal norms. Holy cow, Ted Kennedy, you effing jackass. Look what you did to us. Everything you said it wouldn't happen, happened. And then what happened in the 1980s? Well, the late, great conservative Ronald Reagan happened. The guy that lied to us about Iran-Contra. That guy that allowed amnesty to happen with millions of illegal aliens became legal, majority in California. And then you see the convergence of the late 1960s and the 80s. And then guess what happens in the 1990s? The white population begins to fall off a cliff. The blacks stay level because what happens in the 80s and 90s? Massive drugs poured into the inner city. It's not even arguable now who did it. Our government. Do you think the uneducated, unskilled, barely living blacks in the inner city were able to create through pharmaceuticals, synthetic drugs, or grow them? Where in the inner city were they growing massive poppy plants, cocaine, heroin, and marijuana? Where were those great big farms? They were not in the inner city, so those drugs had to be driven into the inner city. You don't have to like it. I'm not giving them an out for the way their lives have become. I'm just stating an effing obvious fact, people. So what happened with the abortion, the drug overdose, the murders, the death and despair in the inner city? Well, blacks stayed basically normal. For every one child they were having, they were killing the other one. And lo and behold, because in 1965, Ted Kennedy stopped the spigot from Western European countries, meaning our white ancestors were no longer allowed to come in legally. So what did they do? Well, they opened up Latin America and Africa, and they brought in as many third worlders as they possibly can. And then guess what happened with the Hispanic population? The Hispanic population went from not even being truly able to quantify through the census to now they're almost 25% of our population. I don't care if they grew to say 1% or 2% organically, and blacks kept going from 11 to 10 to 14, and whites kind of fluidly went from 89 to 84 to 85. That's not what happened. And why did it happen that way? Because we have illegitimate governments that don't have any allegiance to America. And now the American citizenry now sees it for what it is because it's staring us in the face. 2035, not 2020, not 2045, as the demographers say it's going to be when whites become the minority. It's going to be in 2035. We're 6% away from being the minority in our own country. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, America? And then you have to, at the same time this is happening to you, you're being gaslit, you're being propagandized, you're being lied to right in your face by the same people that are running your country and telling you the 2020 election was real. Donald Trump he didn't get it. Sorry. And then we lived through 4 years. And why did the Democrats go all in? Why did they come in and day one close the border down? Not day 1,000, day one. I was there, people. I was in my office watching the executive orders cascade down from Washington, D.C., go through the mill, through Mayorkas and DHS, and plop down on my inbox telling me what I had to do. And I'm reading it and I'm going, that's illegal. You can't do that. That's unconstitutional. That's against the law. That policy is not true. They bastardized the policy. That's not the policy. I'm looking at the policy in my hand. I have it. You're contradicting the policy. You're contradicting law. Shut up, JJ. Just let them all go. So they went all in, and we had 30 million people come into our country. 30 million people in 4 years. Do you understand what I just said to you? Do you have any idea about how many people that is? I could take out the middle part of America and replace every single person there with a 30 million. In complete states were completely depopulated and put back in with all these third worlders. I'm going to show you this video number 2. If you can get it queued up for me, Nick. Joe Biden in 2020 won 477 counties. Do you know how many counties Trump won? 2,497. He won 2020. Oh, isn't that interesting? 2020. He won 2,020 more counties than Joe Biden did. And he lost. This is from like the day or a week after the election in 2020. Watch how this guy just kind of lays it out for you that, yes, this is a fraud.
So a bellwether is a leading indicator of a final election outcome. These counties here that I'm going to show you, there are 19 counties since 1980 that have been perfect in aligning with the winner of our presidential elections. In 2016, President Trump carried all 19 of these counties. You can see most of them are in your working class states in the Northeast. There's also 4 of them in Wisconsin. And President Obama carried all 19 in both of his campaigns. All the way back to 1980, they've aligned with the winner. President Trump carried 18 of the 19 in 2020, with the exception of one in Washington, which I can assure you, and for those of you in the Washington delegation here, you already know Clallam County, Washington has some issues. So President Trump, once again, carries the bellwether counties of 2020.
Listen to what you have to go back, because as I'm watching this again, I'm thinking about where I was. I was deputy patrol agent in charge in a station in San Diego sector, and I remember sitting in my office and talking with my buddy who's the patrol agent in charge and people that worked for me. And nobody could. We were in that time where nobody could understand what happened. We knew that there was something happened in the middle of the night because I went to bed at 1 a.m. thinking, okay, I was angry because I was like, damn it, I thought he was going to win by a landslide, but I'll take it, whatever, we win. Then I literally wake up, like, because I have to go to work around 5 and I get up at 4 to get there in time. And I'm sitting there looking at my phone in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock in the morning, going, oh, dear God. Well, he lost? What happened? There were like 80-something%, 90% in. There was no mathematically a possible way he could lose. And he lost. And I remember those weeks and months trying to understand what happened. As information started pouring in, you're like, I know he didn't win. I know Biden didn't win. I know it was a fraud. I just don't know how they did it. So I'm watching that. And I remember watching videos like this and people explaining, no, Trump won 18 of the 19 bellwether counties. Then he wins. He wins. But he didn't. But now we know why and how. And it's diabolical. And it was surgical. And it had to be done with the knowledge of our government. Our government is illegitimate. Everything about our government is illegitimate. Can you just pull up the next one is Charlie Kirk's post. I want to bring him from his grave as he posted this right about the same time in 2020. Look at Barack Obama, the first black president, 69 million votes. He won 873 counties. Donald Trump won 2,497 counties, and his total jumped to 75 million votes. However, Joe Biden won almost half of what Barack Obama did, 477, and 2,020 less than Donald Trump, but he got 81 million plus votes. He got 81 million votes. How are you okay with this, America? Before I get to what my end conclusion is, I want to just keep going through this. I want to show number 4. This is a picture, and I want everyone to see it. This is what it looked like. Donald Trump's rallies prior to the election and on the eve of the election. Ohio, Nevada, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. But this is what it was like across the nation. Rallies. There were rallies with, sometimes they had 20, 30,000 people in the auditorium with another 30,000 hanging out outside. Look at that. That's not doctored. It's not AI. This is not Kamala Harris AI doctored. This is the truth. This is what, throw yourself back to that November night in 2020. Throw yourself back there and realize this is what we were all looking at. This was a done deal. The old demented guy that had Alzheimer's and a racist and a plagiarist and a liar and a sexual deviant, and some would say a pedophile. He was not going to win. There was no way he's going to win. But he did. So let's look at, as you keep that, you think that's in your mind, I want you to look at the picture, number 5, Nick, of what Biden's rallies look like. This is not made up. This is not AI. This is what, in God's name, was happening under Joe Biden when he would go talk to people. The vast majority of those people were press. Look at the propaganda. Look at what you, America, swallowed as the truth. Look at it. Even though I know my audience and I never believe this, but the vast majority of Americans are still struggling and trying to come to grips that's true. That man won. Look at that, people. This is insanity. But we deserve everything that has come to us and that is coming to us because we allowed it. We stayed silent. Just, can you do this? Can you go to the next slide and just show this side by side? Because I really want to reiterate this. Look at it. I'm not saying President Obama didn't win. He absolutely won. He ran against 2 losers. He ran against the loser John McCain, and he ran against an even bigger loser, Mitt Romney. I have no desire. That is true. He won. The guy in the middle, that jackass, 477 counties, one of the 19 bellwethers, he lost Florida, Ohio, and Iowa. He lost House seats. But somehow everyone came out from their mother, and this man got more votes than any president in the history of the United States, even to present day. And every person that says that he won is either part of the lie and part of the conspiratorial to destroy America, or they are complete and utter the dumbest people on planet Earth, and there's no helping them. Look at what they have done to our country. This next segment, I'm going to go into the violence in our inner cities. That is a direct, every single thing that I talk about every single night. It may seem to a casual observer, well, he's kind of bouncing around. No, this is all connected. All of it's connected. We have societal chaos right now. Why? Because you have over 100 million foreigners in our country that don't share our language, our societal beliefs, our religious beliefs. You have groups of people that are Muslim that are saying death, chanting death to America. You have a Somali chief of police in Little Mogadishu, Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's saying almost a quote, now that we're here, we're now going to take care of our people. Well, wait a minute. I'm in law enforcement, jackass. You're a sheriff. You're in law enforcement. You don't have your people. It is the people. I'm protecting the people. And if the vast majority of criminals are white crackers from the woods, then I'm going after the white crackers. If it's a bunch of savage black kids, then I'm going after the savage black kids. Is it a bunch of Somalis that are raping the social systems of Minnesota and thus the United States of America federal government, then I'm going after Somalis. Our nation has fallen. Our nation is not falling. Our nation has fallen. And I would love, and I do interviews, I must do 10, 15 interviews a week, right? Just interview after interview. And I do long form interviews. And I ask these questions when I have a host that pushes back on me. I just tell them, or I ask them, well, tell me why America is still great. Tell me, you're debating that I said America is fallen, and I'm making the argument, the legitimate intellectual argument that we have no recourse. We can't vote our way out of it. We can't legislate our way out of it. We can't go. The courts are corrupt. What is it? The media is corrupt. What mechanism is left for us to have recourse for our grievances? And the answer is none. We have none. We have zero. So what does that lead? This isn't what I want to happen. I'm just a guy that has some historical context, that I do a lot of reading and a lot of research, and I'm not an idiot either. And I'm just looking at things as they are. When a group of people have no recourse for their grievances, what do? Well, they fight. They fight for their against their grievances. They fight for a moral cause. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I know a lot of people are frightened when you start saying dirty words like militia. Our founding fathers didn't think that the word militia was dirty. In fact, they knew that militias would play a significant role in the governance or the controlling of the government. Anyone out there, are you going to take the point of an argument that our government is not tyrannical? You're going to try to take the debate side, that our government is following the Constitution and that we live in a republic? Are you really going to try to be on that side of the argument? Honestly. Joe Biden, he has full-on dementia. He has Alzheimer's. He's gone mentally. He's just a gone guy. Morally bankrupt. When he was alive, if you go back and you look at the videos of him, he was so grotesquely arrogant, so pompous, talked down to you. Such an arrogant guy. Unless you talk to Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham says, I don't know anyone that can't love Joe Biden because he's an amazing human being. Really? He has a house in the Hamptons, in Delaware. $2.3 million he paid for cash. Can anyone explain that to me? How that happened? Did he write a book? Did he create an app? Or did he go and became a professor at the University of Penn, which he never was, and then the Chinese government funded his study, so he got millions of dollars, and his son got millions of dollars from Burisma and a bunch of other crap, Russia. He's a corrupt politician. He's a sexual deviant. He was taking showers with his underage daughter that was coming into womanhood, like in the pre-teens or maybe teens, taking showers. I maybe took a shower with my son 2-3 times with my bathing suit on. My son. Not that my son's 14. Would I get in the shower with him right now? My son would freak out, and rightfully so. What if my son was a daughter? And I'm taking a shower with my daughter? And now my daughter becomes a cocaine addict and a sex addict, and then writes about it and saying that she believes the genesis of all this started with her father taking very, very inappropriate time showers with her when she was a young girl to a young woman. And no one says a damn thing. No one even argues about it. No one even tries to hide the fact that happened. That's Look, when you start to push all your chips in, and you're like, okay, this is all my evidence. And that's what I do every night that I come on the show. I go, I'm all in. Here's you can see everything that I believe in. Now go ahead, match my chips with your insanity, with you trying to debate what I just said. Go ahead. I'm all in. Here's my cards. I'm not even trying. I'm showing you my hand. I'm not even trying to bluff you. Here it is. I got a full house. I'm all in. All my chips are in there. And you keep folding. Why is that? Because you don't have anything to rebut what I'm saying. You can't even nuance it. I've had these discussions with people when I get into quote a debate, and they want to pick just one little tiny little thing out of a giant topic, and they want to debate it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to relent that's right. It's 1% of the 100% problem. But let's just, for the sake of argument, say that I agree. Can we talk about the 99% that's staring us in the face, that's corruption, evil, and against the law? Can we do that? No, we got to go back and talk about this. I'm going to go to the next topic in a second, and it's going to tie in perfectly, and it's the violence in the inner cities. Violence. Before I do, I would like you to support the companies that support us, that allow me to stay on the air. And one of those is sat123.com. Sat123.com/JJ. I have Chris from Sat123 on the show once a week. Incredible guy, knows his stuff. I use Sat123. You don't have to use it the way I do. I use it because that's how I want to use it. I want to use it to be prepared. Sat phone. My wife has a sat phone. I have a sat phone. My son will have a sat phone when he starts to drive. I have my son and my wife and me have ballistic backpacks. Ballistic backpacks, shields. Gives us a fighting chance. We're traveling Thanksgiving. What could go wrong traveling? I can think of about 1 million things. Faraday pack to put our phones and our credit cards in. Generator. It's freezing cold now in the Midwest, in Kansas. I need a generator. I have a generator with solar panels. I want to be prepared, so I go to sat123.com. And I encourage you to go there and see if there's things that you feel that you need in your toolbox to prepare your family for those times that are coming or have come and you needed something. Go to sat123/JJ. And if you could, go to my website, jjcarrell.com, or my Substack, jjcarrell.substack.com. Go to either one of them. I have free content like galore. And I also have paid content multiple times a week, videos, writings, everything that we're talking about today. If not, you just go there to spread the word. Go to my YouTube channel, click the subscribe button. And maybe if I get big enough subscribers, then I'll stop being suppressed or censored. At least that's my hope. Inner city crime has multitude of similarities. Doesn't matter what city you're in. Inner city, the vast majority of all of the violent cities in America are run by Democrats. Meaning the mayor, the city council, the federal reps, the state legislative reps, the chief of police, they're all Democrats, and they are almost 90-something% all people of, quote, color. And yet they're never blamed for the chaos they live in. Or the chief of police is an old grandma, white woman, white grandma. God. Old white women are running police forces in New Orleans, Cincinnati, a couple other places, and you're just like, why do you think those cities are in decay. Unbelievable. I want you to see, this is number 7, but before you, I want to cue this up. This is the last 11 months. Last 11 months. 378 murders, over 1,300 shootings, 5,000 robberies, 16,000 felony thefts. There's no help in Chicago. There's no helping it. Go ahead and play this Fox News clip, please.
1,300 robberies, 5,200 felonies, theft, 16,400. Whether it's the mayor or the police chief, I'd just be pissed off if I saw those numbers. I mean, enough is enough, Cata.
Well, we've been pissed off, and we became pissed off when Brandon Johnson actually took office and, moved to remove police officers from our Chicago public schools. And, we're seeing this violence. We're seeing it being perpetrated with our youth. So we know that there's an issue with youth, and we know that it is starting in the schools.
See, here's the thing. At first, my first reaction for many, many years was, well, damn it, you deserve it. You voted for these idiots. But now I don't know if they voted for him. Did they vote for him? Chicago is known for thievery and theft in elections. Did they vote for the dumbest, literally, easily one of the dumbest human beings on planet Earth, Mayor Johnson? I mean, he's a moron. And I say that as an understatement. But what that lady also didn't say, it's very important to be specific, not general. Who are the youth that are terrorizing Chicago and murdering people in the hundreds, if not thousands of people that have shootings into the 1,300? Shootings. Well, those would be black youth. We need to be specific. I live in a suburb of Kansas City, Kansas. 99% white. If there was a shooting, like one shooting, that's all anyone would be talking about for years. Like, don't you remember back in 2019, they had that shooting? Where was that? Oh, I think that was down on this street. And yeah, that was crazy, right? And you're looking at like, that was 6 years ago. Yeah, we never had any of that, thank God. I haven't had another shooting since then. And prior to that, I think it was like 30 years. No. Chicago just had 1,400 shootings. Like every single night. Like 3, 4, 5, 10 shootings a night. And then we're supposed to compare apples to apples? Are you really? Wait a minute. I live in a 99% white community, and you live in a 99% black community. And you're going to talk about the youth as if we're all the same. Well, we're evidently not all the same. Your schools are failing. I will grant you that. But why are they failing, ma'am? Well, because 80% of the children that go in there have no dads. Their mothers are on welfare. Majority of their women are grotesquely obese. Gangs run rampant. You have a black mayor that castigates the police. The police don't respond. And around and round and round and round we go. Let's look at another city, Washington, D.C. As you cue this one up, Nick, let me just set the stage for this one. This is per Trump. The murder rate is 41 per 100,000. Trump can barely find anywhere else in the world the number is higher. The number is not higher in any first world nations. Meaning Washington, D.C. is a kill zone. Again, black DEI mayor hire, chief of police sucks, city council, all the same people, And the vast majority of all the crime, almost 100% of the crime, black men. Go ahead and play this woman and please
Hi,
stop
friends.
it.
The National Capitol should not be a crime scene. Right now in Washington, D.C., we're seeing the highest homicide rates in years, and carjackings are through the roof. Over half of them, 51% of them, are actually committed by juveniles. More than 2,000 juvenile arrests just between 2023 and 2024. Do not believe the spin that crime is down in D.C. When you actually compare it to the real history, Democrats are cherry picking the pandemic crime spike of 2020 to make it look like we've made progress. The truth? Homicides in 2025 are still projected to be 46% higher than in 2019. Motor vehicle thefts still way above pre-pandemic levels. Look, when you use 2020 to 2023 as a baseline, you're inflating the perception of decline. You have to compare it to pre-2020 numbers, and the reality is clear. Crime is insanely high. The District of Columbia is now known as the District of Disorder, but
And what do? We put a few National Guardmen there. Why aren't we doing overkill? Because we don't have the courage to do it. We don't have the intestinal fortitude or the intellectual honesty to point out the groups of people that are causing all the mayhem. And I love when people say 13% of the population, which is the black population, commits over 50% of the homicides. And my rebuttal to that is no, that is statistically not factually true. Because in order to claim that all 13%, we're talking about babies, kids in grammar school, people that somehow in the black community live past 50. No. We're talking about 2 to 3% of the entire population of the United States. Let me repeat that. 2 to 3% of the entire population of the United States of America commits over 50% of the homicides. They commit almost 100% of the rapes. Black on white rapes. Do you know how many white on black rapes there were last year in America? I believe, if I'm not off, was 0. 0. I want to look at this. If you pull this next one up, number 9, this is New York City. Not New York City, okay? This is the New York Metro, the subway. This is not everything above ground. This is everything in the subway system. Compared to 2019, murders are up 368%. Rapes are up 30%. Where do you rape someone in a subway? Can somebody just explain that to? There's nowhere to hide. That means they're raping people in broad daylight and no one's doing a damn thing. Robbery up 32%. Felony assault, 149%. Total violent crime up 80%. In the subways, not in the city with 8 million people, in the subways. Black mayor, black city council. Now you have a Ugandan naturalized citizen, self-avowed communist that wants to tax white people. Like his words, not mine. And lastly, on this topic, I want to show you number 10. Can you just pull up number 10 for me, Nick? And I want to read this to my audience, okay? All top 20 highest homicide cities are Democrat run. The top 20 violent cities, all Democrat run, represent just 20% of the top population, but 81% of the estimated homicides are in these cities. And then the world's most violent cities, look who is in there. American cities, along with all of these third world cesspools that we allowed into America. You can't connect the dot that those third world savages are inside of our walls in the tune of 50 million, and now we're shocked that crime has skyrocketed throughout our nation? Nick, you can take that off. This is what I always love. Well, what would you do? Well, it's very simple what I would do. The police forces are incompetent. They're run by incompetent DEI hires. The ones that are somewhat intelligent are completely ideologically insane. And the city council and the mayors are functionally retarded. So I would make an executive order declaration, and I would take over those cities. I would federalize the police forces. I would send National Guard on every street corner. Every street corner. And before you stupid Democrats start howling, guess what? Kathy Hochul put National Guard with M4s down in the subways because that was so violent. But then she pulled them out and they just come back. Here's an idea that maybe we can try. Just hear me out. We have 270 plus foreign military bases across the globe. Why don't we bring them back and have them secure our country? You think that would be a good idea? You think that maybe that would make a change? Or we can continue to do the same damn thing to where I live, Kansas City, Missouri, black mayor, black city council, black, all black residents. Told my wife, sorry, sweetie, I never tell you what to do, like ever. You're forbidden to go down there without me. And when you go with me, I'll be carrying, and then I'm going to be pissed off that I'm down there. So we're basically never going there. Why? Well, the last time my wife and my son went down, there was a massive shooting in a parade right where they were standing. And I like what Nick Fuentes said. He said, how racist do I need to be in order not to get killed? Meaning, I'm not going to be shy about saying why I'm not going to go some places, because the probability of getting killed, assaulted, robbed is exponentially high. Why would I put myself in that position? Only an idiot would do that. So if I have to become more racist and say, well, I'm not going there because it's all black inner city. Well, you're a racist. Okay, well, why don't you go down there? Why don't you FaceTime me? Go ahead. FaceTime me as you and your family walk around downtown Kansas City, downtown St. Louis, downtown Detroit, downtown New York City, Chicago, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Go ahead. FaceTime me. Walk around with your nice jeans and your nice shirt, park your car, your $80,000 Mercedes right there on the side of the street, and then just go have some dinner somewhere downtown. And walk around, go through the dark alleyways. You're not going to do it, are you? I know you're not going to do it. I already know you're a gutless twat. There's no way you're going to do it. Would I do it? Yeah, I could do it. They're going to see me. They're going to know, okay, well, damn it. That's a big guy. He's probably going to try to strangle me. Or maybe worse, that big white cracker is going to have a gun. And he looks like the type of guy, because his haircut, he's probably in law enforcement military, that I'm sure he knows how to use it. And I'm sure he's going to put it out and put it right between my eyes and pull the trigger without hesitation. Maybe I won't deal with him. But you look like an effeminate piece of trash man. And I'm going to attack you. Why has this happened? Well, it's very simple. It's not rocket science. I'm not trying to explain to you how we split an atom. I'm not trying to tell you the right dose of chemotherapy and radiation and new wave treatment for cancer. We're not talking about quantum physics here, people. We're talking about an absolute demographic destruction of the United States of America that brought third worlders from black and brown nations depopulated, or at least took our percentages down to in the 50s, going into the 40s of white people. This was a white, settled Christian nation. And we turned it over to savages, people from the third world that have no belief in our system, have no idea about Christianity, have no idea about Western values. I'll give you a case in point. I mean, I can give you I can give you 1,000 cases in point, but let's go to an obvious one that just popped up on our radar this last 3 days. That would be Little Mogadishu in Minneapolis, Minnesota. What is in Little Mogadishu? Well, that would be all the third worlders from Somalia. So black Somalians who are known to be almost equal as Romanian gypsies, that when they come over, they just scam. What did they scam? Well, last year they learned, or in 2023, they learned of a scam involving autism. And in autism, they got about $3 million of benefits in 1 year, faking their children having autism. $3 million is a lot of money, but I could at least say, okay, well, you know, you got kids in school that are not functioning. I can understand that. But it went from $3 million, and in 1 year, just the Somalis, no one else, none of the white people in Minnesota, just the black Somalis that we brought over under refugee status received $400 million for autism.
This is Savannah Hernandez back out on Canal Street 1 month after the ICE raid that saw this street completely cleared out. Now, this is actually pretty cleaned up because NYPD just walked through here. This entire corner was filled with, once again, those.
Can you pause it right there?
Migrant.
Do you see any white people? Does anybody see any white people? Come on, damn it, I'm asking. Go ahead and play it just for 30 more seconds. Let's see if we can spot a white
Street
person.
vendors. And they're back completely disregarding the law once again. And to give you guys an example of how unafraid these migrant vendors are, NYPD has been walking through here all day. They've been here for a couple hours actually.
They're right next
and what's
to
been
it.
happening
Please.
is the migrants essentially
Can
just
you
go
stop
from
right
this
there?
street over here to
Go back and let's make sure we get that guy flipping us off. Yeah, come on. You're almost right there. Now, I can guarantee you that young man's IQ is below 60, meaning he's functionally retarded. But there are tens of millions of functionally retarded blacks from Africa and the Middle East in America right now. And I have a question. All of those people were gone when they did raids in ICE raids. Why did we leave New York City? Why is there not a contingency of 2, 4, 1,000 ICE officers and fire and military there in New York? Because we don't have the will to do it. We do not have a strategy that's working, and we're failing the American people. Please, Nick, can you keep that up there, Nick? I want to end the show just with that. I want that staring at my audience. I want that because that's what's looking at you, America. And see all of his buddies back there? All those boys? You see those men? Those are called alpha males. And they respect men like me. In fact, they fear men like me. They don't fear men like you. They're going to bend you over and they're going to treat you like a goat. And you're just going to take it because there's nobody coming for you. You saw 3 police officers against thousands. Good luck. Wake up, America. You have fallen.